Tom from Big Time VP. This is going to be my first video talking to you about vaping, my experience, what got me into it and what I ended up buying. This is only the first video in a long line, so keep watching. Right, first of all, a little bit of history. I've been smoking for a long time, not just cigs. When I was a teenager I started off on weed. Got really into that. Got cannabis psychosis, had a massive breakdown, but that's another story. Anyway, the main point is I was so into it and so enthusiastic about it. I worked in a head shop for 2 years selling bongs, all sorts of smoking stuff. I enjoyed the physical aspect of it, making your own bongs, making your own smoking equipment, fiddling with little pieces, trying to make each smoke better, stuff you don't get with cigarettes. So after all that, after quitting, decided I wanted to go into the Air Force, training for that, decided not to go into the Air Force after I'd been there for 5 days, another story in another time, and then started smoking again. It was just cigs, just something to pass the time really, but of course you get addicted, don't you? So when I came across this electronic cigarette thing, I was a bit skeptical, thinking it couldn't really feel like that. It couldn't really feel like smoking, even if it was just nicotine. I mean, people always say if they want to quit, then they can. And I have done it a few times, and it's never bothered me. My girlfriend smokes, so maybe that's just why I kept on smoking. The thing with electronic smoking, the thing that drew me towards it, there was a guy at work who had one, so that's why I ended up looking into it. And once I got into it, it was just too good to pass up. The stuff you can get, the gadgets, the personalisation thing, making your own ways to smoke, making your own ways to vape, better. You know, like fiddling with different components, trying to get the best vape you can. And plus that massive array of flavours, cherry, apple, RY4, whatever that is, caramel, vanilla. These are all things that we used to have flavours as blunt wraps. You know, like tubed cigar paper that you could roll up weed in. Those were the only times I ever smoked with flavours, and seeing this opportunity to come again and now I could smoke with flavours again, well, that really got me going. So I looked around, looked on Amazon, had a look at all the different options available, read a lot of reviews, watched a lot of video reviews, and my first decision really was to buy a kit that looked like a cigarette, just because I thought it was cooler to, you know, to do the holding thing. But after reading reviews of the iCig and the virtual smoker or whatever you call them, people had a lot of problems with the batteries not lasting too long, and then I looked into thinking that one of those PCC portable chargers would be okay, but the thought of having to do that over and over again and charge up things every day is just not what I wanted at all. So then I started looking into what people call mods. They were more like specialist pipes, higher powered. They looked bigger, they looked cumbersome on first look, but more and more as I got into it, there were some quite attractive ones. So me digging into all this information and stuff, I finally decided, if I'm gonna do it, I might as well not do the little virtual cigarette experience like everyone else had done. everyone else had already learned the lesson, so why go through it, spending more money than I needed to? I might as well just buy the best that I could get. So I did, and I ended up with the screwdriver. I'm not going to tell you about this right now because I'm going to review it another time, but I'm going to tell you about the differences between cigarette smoking and my first impressions of vaping. First of all, you draw back, and I used to get sore mouth, sore throat sometimes just from cigs. It wasn't a nice taste. Have you ever noticed when you're smoking a cig and you just have to stand there spitting like that every time, because it doesn't really taste that nice? And I'm sure there's tobacco connoisseurs out there who love the taste of different cigars and stuff like that, but I wasn't one of those. I was a smoking connoisseur, sure, but just for the equipment, not really for the tobacco, even though that's what I was smoking nowadays. So my first impressions of this, by the way, I have used a vaporizer before, but it was for weed. It was a massive upside down jam jar with a little soldering iron with a copper tip on, and we put the weed on top, and all this vapour filled this jam jar, and then you sucked it out when it was full. It wasn't instant vaping like this is. So it really is just, it's refreshing. And because I bought the cherry and the menthol flavour first without even trying the tobacco one, I was really happy with it. You draw back and you get a cold stream, a thin stream coming from this little tip. The vapours are juicy. You get an aftertaste that's left on your lips, the cherry one especially. There's no nasty lingering taste or nothing in the back of your throat. The rush that you get off a cigarette isn't really there unless you were to really go for this, but you get the throat hit, you get the back of the throat prickle that you get with cigs. I'm just going to demonstrate this now. The thing that I missed about smoking with cigarettes comparing to weed was you couldn't play with the smoke. I used to chong bongs and have big clouds of smoke, and you could do all sorts of Irish waterfalls and stuff. You can with this. You can play with the actual smoke rather than just holding a cigarette like looking fancy. So you get a lot to go at. Like I said, I'm going to review this another time, but just the concept of vaping versus cigs was worked out for me. It's been 2 days since I've had a cig. I've only had this 2 days, so of course I can't really comment yet. I'm psyched about it, so obviously I'm going to be biased against this, but I really don't see me going back to it at all. Anyway, this is the first video of a long line of videos. Just to be known as a big time VP, so hopefully you'll get used to it. Keep coming back, checking out videos, checking out where I'm up to, and hopefully I can offer a different insight into things. I know there's people like Grim and Green and stuff who's experienced, but there's nothing that I really found as a diary of a journey into vaping, you know what I mean? There's nothing like being a partner as you go along. But I want you to have this experience with me. See what I buy next, what I'm trying, what I think of it at the time, any improvements or ideas I can think of. And yeah, I hope you'll stick with me and we'll see this through together. As Grim Green says, keep on vaping.